Hello, everyone. Welcome for those who are joining us. So, Ash, shall we start? Okay, so I'm Lisa, and I will be your host for today's session. We are thrilled to have participants joining us, notably from Francophone Africa, as we can see, from Senegal, I think, and from other countries. And if we are from another country than Senegal, put that in the chat, because for the moment, I see more people from Senegal than other countries. So we are very welcome for this masterclass of the experts powered by Kinaya Ventures. So take a breath, grab the book, and let's get into it. So before we dive in, we have just a quick few quick housekeeping notes. Please keep your mic muted during the masterclass. If you ask that we mute your mic to ensure smooth audio. You can also drop your question and reflection in the Q&A session. The Q&A session in the bar, you have a Q&A. It depends whether you have the Zoom in French or the Zoom in English. So you can drop your question anytime, and we'll take them during the Q&A session. Also note that this session will be recorded, and a replay will be shared with all participants. So also feel free to screenshot and take to share screenshot and also takeaways from this masterclass on LinkedIn or Instagram, and don't forget to tag Kinaya Ventures and buildlearning.co so we can amplify your insights. So I just want to remind you the theme of this masterclass. The masterclass is about higher education playbook, and we will be joined by Ash that you can already see on the screen. And Ash, today's speaker is Ash. But he will let you know what he's doing currently and what is your journey. And he has been helping people around the world figure out how to learn fast, stay relevant, and build a work that actually means something. So think of this session not as a lecture, but as a master class for your life, and more likely like a strategy huddle for the next era of your career. So enough for me. Let's get into it, into the good stuff of Ash. And Ash, you now have the floor. The floor is all yours now. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. So I'm Ash. Maybe just to share a little bit about what we are going to do today. So I just graduated from Stanford University, and today we're really going to talk a little bit about the higher ed playbook. So I think I was also working with Kinaya Ventures for a while, and really what we are trying to do with this masterclass series is really to bring out this workforce journey and to help everyone who's here today plan out their next steps in their careers. So we'll start off with mine, where we actually talk a little bit about higher education. And then there are also a series of masterclasses in the next 2 weeks. So please join us for those as well, and they will be related to job interviews and CV writing. So I think those will be also very useful. So today, we think of today as almost like a teaser to the next 2 weeks. We are going to start a little bit by figuring out what we are going to do for the next few years of our lives, and also possibly also think about what we want to do with higher education and how higher education can help us get to where we want to go. Okay, so I'm just going to share with you some of the strategies that I used. And today's session is really going to be a little bit more interactive. We are going to do a little bit of reflection and Padlet. We're going to use this platform called Padlet, and at the end, we will also use this app called Lovable to kind of build something out towards the end. Okay, so just stick with me as I bring you along on this masterclass. So just some background. So I'm actually from Singapore. I used to work with the Ministry of Education as a teacher, and then I was also doing some policy work in the ministry. So I did this for about 2 years, 2 to 3 years. And then after that, I actually went on to do my master's. So I did my master's in Stanford. It's the Learning, Design, and Technology course. And during my time in Stanford for a year, right, we had a lot of different things that I did. So one of them was I was part of the Stanford Accelerator for Learning. That's really where, we experiment with different AI tools. And I actually learned a lot, and I also was able to do a lot of AI sharing and prototyping and teaching when it comes to all things AI. And during my time at Stanford, I also co-founded Build Learning. So I'm currently working on it during my time back home in Singapore. And then what we actually are doing is that we are helping students build passion projects. I will share a little bit more about that later, and then I will guide us through the steps for the workshop. And then during my time, I was also very fortunate to actually work with Kinaya Ventures. So actually in the last 2 months, I was actually in Senegal and Dakar, working alongside Liza and Mariama. So this was something that I was also working on, Kinaya Ventures and the experts platform as well. So this is just a little background about myself. So to share a little bit about what else we're going to be doing today, right? So today we are going to be going through this thing called the BUILD process, the build process. Okay, so during my time at Stanford, we founded this Build Learning, this company called Build Learning, and within Build Learning, we actually run students through a BUILD process, right? BUILD that's inspired by the Stanford design thinking process. And this is also something that you will experience through this workshop today. Okay, so I'll run you through the brief, understand, ideate, lead, and demo. So while I used to do this with students for different workshops and passion projects, today we are going to do this, apply the BUILD process to our own lives. Okay, and then we are going to see how we can redesign our lives using the build process. Okay, so to get started, I want to share a little bit first, that, when I first began thinking about my next steps, I started working. I didn't actually have a fixed dream of going to Stanford University or even to study overseas, right? But the bigger question really was, how can I design a higher education pathway that is intentional? So it means that it's something that I believe in, something that is values aligned, and something that opens doors for future possibilities. I think for everyone who's here today, we are all looking at what's next in our careers, right? How can we maximize our potential, right? What else can we do apart from our work? So I was at a point where I was working as a teacher, and then in very early career, and then I was following the standard pathways for a teacher, right? But I also saw that, many people were moving on, getting promoted, finding jobs. And it's not because, they wanted it, but it's because, they were just there going through the motions. And to me, when I went through that as well, I didn't want my future to be something that I fell into. I wanted to actively design my future. I wanted to make sure that, whatever that I did was intentional, and I was actively creating my own path forward. So we're going to start now with the brief. Okay, so if I could get you to quickly just go on to this link, okay, tinyurl.com/the experts one. So this would be something that we are working on. It's called Padlet. So I will share the link again later. But if you get onto Padlet, right, this is what you're going to see. Okay, so I want every one of you now to just add a post and type in your name. Okay, type in your name, and this would be the playbook that we will be using for the rest of the session. We are going to have a few other reflection activities, but this will be the main platform where we will actually go to document some of the responses and reflections that we have. Okay, so just if you are using on your phone, you can just scan the QR code, and then you can actually access this padlet.com. And I want you now to type in your names as a post. Okay, so I'll just give you maybe a minute to do that. Okay, just a minute to do that. Okay, so there are quite a few of you. Can I just get all of you to type in your name for now? Just 1 minute. Quickly type in the name so that we can use that as a reflection for today's session. Okay, so if you see that there is a plus sign at the side, yes. So there's a plus sign at the side. You don't comment, don't need to comment on mine. I want you to create your own post with your name. Okay. And once you're done, right, I will give you 2 minutes now to think a little bit about your own life. Okay. Where are you at now? Are you a student? Are you an early career professional? Have you just graduated? What stage of your career journey are you at now? Okay. Can you write that in that post? And also, I want you to think about where do you want to go? Right? What is the aim? What is the end goal for you? Right? It doesn't have to be higher education, but where do you want to go? Right? For example, what is the kind of job that you want? Right? So where are you at now and where do you want to go? So 2 minutes, just fill in the responses on your own reflection. Okay, for the ones who have just joined us, we are actually on the Padlet now. You will scan this QR code and post your name. Okay, type your name into the Padlet, and I want you to reflect on these two questions. Where are you at now, and where do you want to go? Where are you at in terms of your career, your job, your school? Are you studying? Are you a graduate student? Where are you at now?
Just to mention that you can also put it in French if you are not at ease with English, you can put it in French. Vous pouvez le mettre en français, le cas échéant. Merci.
Okay, maybe just 1 more minute. Okay, there are still new people who have come in. So we are on the Padlet now. So I'm getting you to scan this QR code, type in your name, and then also share where are you at now in terms of your career, in terms of your studies, and where do you want to go?
We have a more responsive, Ash?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Okay. But could you also just help me to do a translation in French too on the task, and then I can also move on after this.
Sure, sure, sure. Do you want me to translate in French?
Yeah, yeah. Can you just help me to translate in French? Thank you.
Voilà. Donc, il y a certains d'entre vous qui avaient rejoint alors qu'on avait déjà commencé. Donc, n'hésitez pas à scanner le QR code qui s'affiche pour dire en fait, donc dire où vous en êtes dans votre carrière à l'heure actuelle et qu'est-ce que vous souhaitez faire. Merci. En utilisant donc Padlet.
Okay, so I think I will just move on from this, and then we can carry on with the rest of the workshop. Okay,
Sure.
so the ones who are continuing, just continue to work on the Padlet if you are still on it. Okay, so so I was running through the BUILD process. So after the brief, right? The brief is almost like, you're figuring out what is this problem that you want to solve, right? The next step, to understanding, to figuring out what this problem is that you want to solve. How do you actually go about solving this problem? The next thing that you actually need to do is really to understand, right? So we are done with B, now we are at U, to understand. And here, when we talk about understanding, we want to understand why this matters to me, right? Why is pursuing this new venture important to me? So to me at that point, these were my motivations, right? You need to think about, why does this matter to me? You need to think about your motivations. What are your passions? What are your fears? And what are the rewards, that come about, when you actually attend and go through with this venture? So what is your motivation? I think for me at that time, I cared a lot about learning design and impact, right? It's not just about a degree. I want to see what else I could be capable of. I wanted to see what education could look like when I was in a different environment. I was passionate about a few things. I was passionate about teaching. I was passionate about creativity. I was passionate about exploring learning, right, as something that, I can build, right? It's not just passive learning, but I want to be able to build something from it. But at the same time, right, there were also fears. There were also risks that I was taking, right? I was leaving a stable career. What if I came back with nothing, right? Things like money, obligations, expectations. What if I wasn't good enough for the university that I wanted to go to? What if I wasn't good enough for the venture that I was going to pursue? But at the same time, when while there are fears, you also want to look at the rewards, right? It's a global network. You get to meet so many people from around the world, right? You get the freedom to build and not just to follow. So there were a lot of rewards as well. So to me, this was me really unpacking what it means for me to understand why this venture was important to me. Okay, so now for you, we go back to this reflection activity. What are your motivations, right? What are your passions? What are your fears? And what are the rewards of this venture that you are going to take? Okay, so again, let's go back to the Padlet. Fill all this in for yourself. Okay, just spend maybe the next 5 minutes to think this through. What motivates you? What are you passionate about? What do you fear? And what are the rewards? Right? So think through this and then fill it in to the Padlet. So all this would make sense towards the end. Okay, I'm not getting you to do reflections for nothing, but at the end, we are going to piece all of this together into almost like a portfolio for yourself, and that will be a starter for what we are going to do in the next few weeks. Okay, so this is the second activity, second reflection. Think about these questions and then type it into your own post.
Alors, n'hésitez pas si vous avez besoin de précision à mettre cela dans la section Q&A, Q&R de Zoom pour qu'on puisse y répondre. Vous êtes particulièrement silencieux. Est-ce que c'est parce que c'est en anglais ou bien? N'hésitez pas en fait à écrire en français hein, si vous le souhaitez.
Okay, just 3 more minutes. Okay, what are your motivations, your passions, your fears, and what are the rewards? And if If you can't type it in English, it's perfectly fine. You can also do it in French.
N'hésitez pas à utiliser Padlet pour répondre aux questions de H. En français ou en anglais.
Okay, just one more minute and then we will move on to the next part. Okay, so now that we have understood, right, we've reflected and looked at, what our motivations, our passions, and our fears are, right? The next step really is to think about how do I get there, right? And what needs to happen for me to get there, right? And this will be the last reflection that we will be doing. And this is important because, it's making, I want you to think a little bit deeper about what makes you different, right? And to me, before I even applied to any university, right, I really was thinking, okay, what makes me different? What is the unique point about myself? Right? And this was what I came up with, right? I had real teaching experience. Sorry. Yeah. So I had real teaching experience. I had a design mindset, right? I had the ability to work with young people, not just to teach them. I work really well with young people. And I was very curious. I experimented with AI, with learning. So this is what makes me different. And on your own as well, I want you to think about this. What makes you different? And what do you need to make it happen, right? And I think to me, I knew that higher education was something that I wanted, but maybe not in the next 1 or 2 years, right? I needed a little bit more time. So during that time, I want you also to think about this. Okay, before I apply to the next job, before I apply to my next venture, before I apply to my next university, what do I need, right? What do you think are things that I would need to actually boost my chances of getting there, right? Is it to gain work experience? Is it to start a project? What is it? Okay, so this will be the final reflection for the day, right? Really to tie it all up together and then we can build our portfolio. So what makes me different? Okay, what areas am I lacking and what can I do to improve on these areas?
qu'est-ce qui fait de vous, qu'est-ce qui vous rend différent et quelles sont les zones en fait que vous pourriez améliorer, de quoi vous manquez, en fait, voilà, justement. Euh, voilà, ce sont les 3 questions auxquelles il faut répondre. Merci. Dans l'audience, je vois quelques personnes qui ont participé au Mastercard Foundation Associate Programme. Ces personnes-là, avant que je les cite, qu'est-ce qui vous rend différent? On voudrait savoir. Merci. Alors, la question, Amadou, c'est qu'est-ce qui vous rend différent des autres et quels sont les points dans vos skills dont vous manquez et qu'est-ce que vous pouvez faire pour les améliorer? Merci.
Okay, just another 2 more minutes to finish this portion up, and then we will be able to put it all together to create your own portfolio. Okay, and the next part is going to be really interesting. So I think for now, just remember to fill in the content. Then we will start building in the next section. Okay, so I think we are good to go. I think I'm looking at some of the responses. I think we have very, very interesting responses. And I think people are really thinking about, reflecting about their own lives. I think this is very important. I think this is a first step to thinking about how you want to change your lives. Okay, so this is very, very useful. Okay, so after I went through BUI, right? Build, brief, understand, and ideate. The next portion really is to lead, right? What did I actually do to move forward, right? What is the next step? So after all this thinking and reflecting, what do you do next? right? Or what can you do next to help you to help yourself get closer to where you want to get to, right? I didn't wait for the time to be ready. I just started building straight away. I created prototypes, right? I shortlisted 2 to 3 university programs, right? I looked at all the list of universities I wanted to apply to. I shortlisted them. I started talking to people who are already in those spaces. I started drafting essays. I reached out to mentors to ask them to test different ideas. And then I treated the application process, right, like a sprint, right? I gave myself a deadline. I worked towards those deadlines, right? I didn't just apply, but I tested different versions of myself. And with today's workshop, right, I don't want it to just be a reflection session, but I want you also to think about, what are the possible next steps? And I want you to start the ball rolling, okay? Start thinking about this and start doing something about what you want for your own lives, right? And this is where I'm going to introduce to you this website called Lovable, right? Lovable.dev, right? And I'm going to show you what are some of the things that you can actually do with this website. So this website is actually an app builder. It can build apps for you. It can build websites for you, okay? And you just need to prompt it. It's almost like ChatGPT, but this is Lovable, okay? So this is what you will do, right? You will actually go to lovable.dev. This is the link. Okay, lovable.dev. I'm going to send that link into the chat as well. Okay, so lovable.dev. Okay, and then you are going to create an account, right? You are going to sign in with your own Gmails, and you are going to create an account. Okay, and after you have signed in, okay, after you have logged in, the next thing I want you to do is to type it in first into Padlet, right? Try to piece it all together. This is what you are going to create, okay? So you tell Lovable, can you create a landing page for my own portfolio? There should be 3 sections, okay? So what I care about, my motivations, and what makes me stand out. Okay, and before you actually enter this, I want you to go back now to all the things that we have done, right? So you have all these different reflections, right? Very excellent reflections from everyone. I want you to take parts of these reflections to edit into the sections. Okay, so what is it that you care about? What were your responses earlier, right? Can you type it in? What are your current motivations? Can you type those in? And what makes you stand out, right? So based on all these reflections that we had, can you fill in the prompt for Lovable, right? And once you are done with filling in the prompts, right? So I would actually do this, and then I would just type in random things. So what I care about. So for example, for me, maybe what I cared about was teaching, right? These are the things that I cared about, right? And then my motivations, right? I would just put it in. Okay, so I want you now to do the same. Okay, using the reflections that we have done, I want you to go into Lovable, use this prompt. Can you create a landing page? I will send it in the chat as well. So use that landing page as the header, and then help me to type in your prompts for the 3 different sections. Okay, and then once you are ready, you think that the content is nice, is good enough, that's when you press enter. And then you see the magic happen where you start really to build something out for yourself. Okay, so let's give ourselves maybe 10 minutes to work through this. Think about what you want to write in your own portfolios, and then enter it into Lovable. Okay, and I will show you your final website should look something like this. Okay, your own landing page, it will look something like this. Okay, And I will walk you through this my own experience later on as a final consolidation. But I want you to do this now on your own first. What do you care about? What are your motivations? And what makes you stand out? Based on the reflections that we have done. Okay? So let me just go back to page. So go back to Lovable. And once you have the app out, okay, can you also share your Lovable link with us, okay, in the Padlet itself?
Thank you. Vous avez 10 minutes.
Okay, and Liza, if I could trouble you to also just do a quick translation too on what we are working on right now.
Alors, oui, bien sûr, H. Donc, ce que vous devez faire maintenant, c'est d'aller télécharger l'application qui s'appelle Lovable. Donc, H a mis dans le chat le lien. Et à partir de l'application, donc vous enregistrez sur l'application pour créer une landing page de votre propre portfolio avec 3 sections. Une section autour de vos motivations. Non, une session autour de vos passions, une session autour de vos motivations et qu'est-ce qui en fait vous rend différent. Voilà, donc c'est ça les 3. Et alors vous allez aller chercher toutes les réponses que vous avez apportées dans Padlet pour coller en fait cela dans le prompt en fait de Lovable pour créer cette landing page en fait qui va refléter votre profil, qui vous êtes. Voilà ce qu'il y a à faire pendant 10 minutes. Merci. Et si vous avez des questions, n'hésitez pas à les mettre dans le chat en français ou en anglais. Et on y répondra avec plaisir. Merci.
I think there might be a question. I think Roland, if you have a question, you can
Okay,
answer.
I will let him speak.
Yes.
Roland, vous pouvez activer votre micro si vous le souhaitez. Bonjour Roland.
Bonjour.
Bonjour à vous. Oui, oui Roland. On vous écoute.
Oui, en ce qui concerne la tâche, je suis en train de m'y faire. Là, je n'ai pas encore fini.
D'accord. Et vous avez une question?
Bon, en ce qui concerne la question, j'ai pas trop de questions, mais c'est juste en ce qui concerne le prompt.
Oui.
En ce qui concerne le prompt qui s'affiche juste devant l'écran là,
Oui.
comme c'est en anglais, on doit copier ce prompt et coller ou bien c'est nous-mêmes, on doit exécuter notre propre prompt.
En fait, il faut le prendre comme ça. Il faut le prendre comme
Ok.
ça. Sinon, vous pouvez si vous le traduisez en français, il faut rester dans comment dire, dans l'esprit.
Ah, d'accord, ok.
Voilà. Donc,
Ok.
mais il faut utiliser le prompt comme vous pouvez mêler. C'est-à-dire que si vous avez répondu en français dans Padlet, vous copiez en fait vos réponses. Lovable va
Ok.
pouvoir faire le travail.
Ok, d'accord. Ok, merci beaucoup.
C'est moi. Merci. Si quelqu'un d'autre veut poser une question, on peut aussi ouvrir le micro, hein. Donc, c'est possible aussi de poser directement la question. Merci.
And your final portfolio should look something like this. Okay, you should actually be able to preview it, and then you can also share it with your friends. Okay, so if you have gotten the link, I would like you also to share that link with us in the Padlet. Okay, so let's give us another 5 more minutes to work through this. because I think we want more time, because this is something that, you know, it's almost like the first time for some of you to actually really think about how are you going to position yourself, right? If you have any questions about the app, just sound out. I can also help you along.
Oui, Roland, vous avez une autre question? Ah, non, oui.
S'il vous plaît, c'est par rapport au lien du précédent site. Est-ce qu'on peut l'avoir sur la discussion?
D'accord, on va vous le mettre. Ah, c'est celui de Padlet que vous... OK, d'accord. Ash, please, can you share the link of, you know, the QR code of the Padlet?
Yes, the Padlet is here. You can scan it.
Yeah. Because I think that the issue is that Roland doesn't have, you know, he cannot scan. So
Oh, okay.
go
Yeah,
to,
the link is below, tinyurl.com/the-experts1.
can you
I will send it in the chat.
put
Yeah,
it
I'll
on
put
the
it.
chat? Thank you.
Yes. Okay, and for the ones who have already built something, give me a second. Let me. Okay, so for the ones who have built something, right? This should be kind of what you will see on the screen. Okay, you would be able to see this. There will be building at the side, and then you will be able to see whatever the app is generating on the right. Okay, so now how do you share this link? Okay, you can take a look at the preview. You can open the preview in a new tab. Okay, and then you can share this link with your friends. You can copy this link, and I want you to actually now just add it into your own post. Okay, add it into your own post so that everyone can also kind of take a look as well. So this is your own documentation of what you have done. Okay, so go to this Lovable, click on this arrow, open preview in a new tab, and then copy the link. Okay, and the thing with Lovable is, for example, if you want to change different things, right? For example, if you don't like the words, you don't like the format of this, you can actually type it into the chat and tell Lovable to make the changes for you. Okay, so you can actually prompt Lovable. So for example, if I want, for example, to make the background blue, okay, so I can actually just type in, can you make the background blue? And then you send it in, Lovable will make the changes for you. Okay, so take this chance as a way to really build out maybe something that you can show people too, you know, and really use Lovable to prompt and to test out, you know, what are the different ways you can actually build out and showcase your portfolio. Okay, Liza, could you just do a quick translate on what Lovable can do, and then I will move on. The part about the prompting.
Alors, donc, on espère que vous savez tous prompter, mais toujours est-il que dans Lovable, vous avez la possibilité, si donc le choix, la proposition que Lovable en fait vous fait ne vous convient pas, vous avez la possibilité de rajuster en fait le prompt, de dire exactement en fait à Lovable ce que vous voulez pour que ça colle le plus possible à vos attentes.
Okay.
Et ça marche, normalement ça devrait marcher pour vous.
Yes. And then if your prototype has already been built, could you also share the link with us too? If you don't post it on Lovable, you can also just send it in the chat. Okay, once your prototype is out, you can actually preview it, open the preview in a new tab, and then share the link with us.
Donc, n'hésitez pas, une fois que vous avez créé en fait votre portfolio, à nous partager le portfolio, le lien du portfolio dans le chat cette fois-ci.
Okay, so you can either send it in the chat or you can type it in the Padlet itself. Okay, just one
Vous
more.
le mettre dans le Padlet, dans votre Padlet.
So like what Lindor has done, right? Just send, share the preview with us.
Great.
Okay, nice.
Non, mais non. C'est pas grave.
Okay. Yes.
Is there an limitation in terms of prompting on Lovable for the free version?
Yes. So for the free version, you only have 5 prompts. So I'm using Lovable really as a way to get you started to think about your portfolio, right? There's a limitation to the number of prompts that you can have, but every day you have 5 new prompts. Okay. The thing is, because of the limitations of time, right? This activity really is a short activity for you to use Lovable in a very simple way, but I'm just showing you how you can actually use Lovable or other tools as well to do this.
Thank you, Aminata, for sharing your link.
Okay.
Oui, Roland, on a ouvert votre micro. Vous pouvez parler. Vous avez levé la main.
Okay, just one more minute for people to send their links in. I think there were a few others that we saw. Okay, please share your links with us. Okay, otherwise we can also continue as we go along. Okay, but in any case, so we put it all together, right? And this is my story. Okay, so this is my story as an educator, as a designer, as a learning innovator, right? So what I've done today is really to walk you through the BUILD process and really thought through and reflected about my own life, and then really to put it all together as a portfolio, right? This is me. I'm Ash, and I want to create learning pathways where language becomes opportunity, right? I want to support people using technology, right? And what do I bring to the table? I'm an educator, I'm a designer, and I'm a facilitator. And this is my journey thus far. I started out as a teacher, and then I started to think about what motivates me, right? Young people shouldn't have to fit into rigid templates to prove their potentials. And what makes me different? I worked on the ground, I trained teachers, I piloted AI tools, I built programs, right? So this is not just my past, but this is what I use to build what's next for me. So this is my story, and I hope that you will take this this session as one of the first times that you really start to think about what you have done in your own lives and what is the next step for you. Okay, so as a summary, we went through the BUILD process. We did the brief. We started with the problem. What's possible for me beyond the current path that I have? We understood ourselves a little bit more. We did a bit of reflection about our own lives. What are our weaknesses, our pain points, our motivations? And then ideate, right? We think about what are the different pathways that we can possibly take. How do we get to where we want to go? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What do I need to work on? And then we put it all together to lead, right? To come up with a little prototype for ourselves, for our studies, right? For our future careers. So we put it all together in a prototype, and then we demo, we share it with people. So really, at the end of the day, this is what I want to highlight to you, right? Even if my journey proves anything, right? It's that you don't need a straight path. You just need to keep building your own. Okay, so I've shared my story, and I think now it's time for you to build yours. Okay, so this is my own personal LinkedIn. You can reach out to me too to find out more, or you can also follow us on Build Learning as well.
Thank you very much, Ash. Are there any questions for Ash? Even if it's in French, Ash, I know that you understand French. Est-ce qu'il y a des questions pour Ash? Ok. Il y a Roland qui a partagé. Ok. Nice. Roland. Well done, Roland. Thank you. Est-ce qu'il y a des questions? Pas de questions? Alors, ce que H ne vous a pas dit et que je vais dire ici, c'est que quand H a postulé pour les universités, donc après son expérience au ministère de l'Éducation nationale à Singapour, ben, il n'a pas postulé dans n'importe quelle université. Il a postulé pour 3 universités, donc Stanford, là où il a étudié effectivement, mais aussi Harvard et UCL. Et il les a eues toutes les 3. Donc, voilà, posez-lui la question comment il a fait pour qu'il se fitte avec ces 3 universités prestigieuses, UCL étant University College London. Vous m'entendez? Oui. Votre micro. Ah, le micro est fermé. Le micro est fermé, non. Le micro. C'est à vous d'activer le micro, hein, Roland.
Non, actuellement, je ne vous entends pas, madame.
Ben, moi, je vous entends pourtant très bien. Vous m'entendez pas? Est-ce que vous m'entendez? Ash, can you hear me, Ash?
Yes, yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. Yes.
Yes, Hawa will. Hello, Hawa, and thank you for joining us. Yes, we'll share the presentation. Yeah. There's a question. Okay. So, did you experience at the Ministry of Education in Singapore has influenced your selection for Stanford, Harvard, and UCL? It's a question from data.
Yes, yes. I think my time in school made me realize that I liked something related to education technology. That was what I wanted. And I guess that also influenced why I chose those schools in the first place, right? Especially Stanford, because they are very focused on the education technology, the AI space. That's kind of where, that's where new things are happening, current innovations are happening. That also inspired me to, my time in school inspired me to pursue Stanford as one of my choices.
Thank you. Quelqu'un d'autre veut poser une question? Anyone else has a question? Donc, je vois plusieurs d'entre vous, il me semble, faites partie du programme Masterclass Foundation, associé de programme pour l'Afrique francophone. Est-ce que vous avez des questions en fait pour H? Lionel, Cathy? Alors, s'il n'y a pas de questions pour H, it seems there are no more questions for you. Remember that we'll send the replay of the
Yes.
masterclass to all participants. Yes, and I don't know whether you want to add something about, the masterclass, this masterclass, or the upcoming.
Yes, let me just also quickly share something about the masterclasses that are coming up. Just give me a second.
Okay. There's also a question from Neta. I'm also working on an EdTech solution. What do you recommend?
Can you give me a little bit more context about
She say for me to stand out even if my project is not ready yet.
Okay, so I think this is a good question. I think there is no need to focus too much on whether the project is ready or not. I think the key thing really is when you are planning, right? It's good to have or keep track of how you have grown over the months. So project is not ready is fine, but I want you to keep track of where you are now and how you have iterated and changed the product as you go along. So I think that iterative process, the process where you make changes to the app or to interfaces, I think that is very important when it comes to writing your own portfolios too, because it shows how you have grown as a person and what you have thought about as you are designing and what were your considerations. So no need for, whatever that you're doing to be perfect. You just need to show that, you are willing to learn and you are also growing at the same time.
Thank you. Any other question? Okay. Thank you, Aminata, for the question. Is there any additional question for Ash?
Okay, otherwise I can just do a quick sharing of the next few sessions. So yes, so for this part, so we're done with the first session, right? So I think what we have really tried to structure would be to give you a sense of what are your next steps, right? And then we want to move into the hard skills, right? More skills-based things. Today is really just a teaser to get you reflecting on your own lives. But the next two sessions, right, we are getting in people from around the world. So we have Louis coming in next week. He's a recruiting expert. So he will actually teach you how to write CVs and cover letters, right? So that will be next week. So that is a very important skill to have because, when you submit your CVs and your cover letters, that's what the employers see for the first time. So that will be very important, very useful for you as a next step. So this is happening next week with Louis. And then the following week, we are having Leonard, who is the head of product innovation for Samsung, right? Southeast Asia, Samsung. And he's the director, he's the head of product innovation team. So he would offer you perspectives, as an interviewer, right? As a hiring manager, this is what people are looking for when you apply for work. And this is what he's looking out for when he's hiring someone for his team, right? So these would be very important and useful skills and experiences and workshops that, you might want to get access to. So look out for them, sign up, and also get all your friends to join us as well.
Thank you, Ash. Thank you very much for keeping it real, no fluff, no buzzwords, just real talk and real frameworks. Remember the future of work isn't coming, it's already here. You can either watch it happen or design your place in it. So go out there, experiment, fail forward, and keep learning like your career depends on it, because it does. Thanks again, Ash. Thanks to all of you for tuning in. And stay curious, stay bold. And as we like to say at the experts, don't wait for the future to arrive, build it. So see you next time. See you next time. See you.